Hello, hello, hello. One second. All right, we're all set. How's everyone do today? What's up, Mohammed? How you doing? Well, also welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you before. I just made a cup of coffee. It's really hot though. I have to hold off on drinking that, or I'm gonna burn my mouth. Oh, cool. Yeah, welcome. We're glad to have you. Are you like a developer or something like that? Like, do you code? Are you learning to code? How far down the rabbit hole do you go, or have you gone? Trying to learn coding? Nice. That's a good spot to be. Lots to learn. It's a fun journey. What up, Dracula? How you doing today? Coding is very fun. I agree. It's the funnest, in fact. Where did I put this? I have made so many files now, but I can't remember where some stuff is. Oh, that's in this one. That's right. So I was poorly named. Finally Friday, exactly. So we're doing a Friday stream. Did you have a good week though? A lot of front end dev to do. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I need to clean my desk. My cats jump up there and then they want to like play with the things that are just laying on the desk. Your senior 6, a lot of tasks. Yeah. Nice. That stinks. It's crazy that they expect you to do more work because one guy's not there, you know? But, you know, what can you do? I'm trying to add more monsters, and then I started realizing that, like, I added a slime monster too, and I started to realize that it's very hard to add new stuff because of how I coded it. Like, and now I'm trying to pull everything out into maps. That way I can add like new projectiles very easily, new body types, new weapons, things like that. Just trying to like configify everything. It's a little bit easier to change. But some things have like some things create different things. Some like configs create different things depending on if they're on the client or the server. Like for example, weapons have a different like trigger, because if the player clicks a button that attacks, then the weapons get triggered that way. So when I create a player, I just give them an attack cooldown, and I use that in tandem with the player input to actually trigger the weapon. But for like AI, which I'm calling bots, for bots, I have to I trigger them a different way. Like for example, this guy activates his weapon every so often, I'm not really sure the right way to separate those. Because I have like a single weapon config that generates the weapon. It generates the weapon and it generates the cool, and it should generate the cooldown, or like the way that the weapon gets triggered, I guess. That's the hard, I'm not really sure how to pair those up. Because bots don't really need a cooldown. And then players don't actually, don't like attack they attack when they click an input. But anyways, that's what I'm doing today. That's what we'll be doing today. Oh, let me show you the slimes though, because they're kind of cool. Server? I basically make how it's structured right now is I make a zombie spawner and a slime spawner. And those have a different lambda function that spawns a different body type. And then that body type gets used to create the actual entity on the client and the server. Like that's the replicated thing, or the replicatable thing. I feel like I'm still conflating some of the configs together, but they all have hats. Because I put mount points on all of them, so they just walk around. I think they spawn at they stop at 10 each. Anyways, that's where I got to from yesterday. Maybe it was like the past 2 days I've been working on this sort of stuff. Also, I like the Mohawk slimes. They look so sick. Jomi would be super proud. What's my thoughts on MacBooks? I think MacBooks are really well-built computers. I don't like Mac OS that much, just preferentially. I feel like they don't let me configure all the stuff that I want to configure. I feel like Linux gives me more configuration options. And I've also found, I know people like Homebrew. I found that Homebrew doesn't have all the packages that I want. And sometimes I'm like stuck in this weird state where the package doesn't really support Mac. Granted, that might be somewhat rare. I just feel like I'd rather develop, like I'm building things for a Linux backend. I'd rather develop on Linux. But I have thought about buying a Mac and then installing Linux on it and using that. I think that would be a really good combination. Because everything about Macs I like their touchpads, like the top notch. The keyboard's very, very good. The screens are very, very good. The battery life's very, very good. But if I could do Linux on it, I'd be if I could do Linux on it and it would be as nice, all the hardware stuff would interact as nicely as a Mac, then I would probably get a MacBook next. But I have a weird keyboard now. So I think if I get a new keyboard, if I get a new laptop, I'll probably get one that's just a screen, like a what's the Windows one called? A Surface or something? Oh, give me 1 second, my cat's climbing my screen. Surface Pro, that's what it's called. Or not a Surface Pro, just a Microsoft Surface. I'd probably get one of those. But then I'd be stuck having a I have to carry my own keyboard around and a mouse too. So, like most of my stuff I can do with a keyboard, but there are some things I can do with a mouse. So I don't know. Maybe I would just get a Mac. That would probably be a good. I use Nix Package Manager on Mac. It gives me Linux flexibility instead of sluggish brew. I've never heard of Nix before. Uni Linux on MacBooks. I don't know if it's 100% yet. Yeah, that'd be like the perfect combination, especially if the touchpad like still had that like tactile feedback and all that. Surfaces has touchscreen. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of touchscreens, to be honest. Nix have weird terminal output. Yeah, I don't know. I've never used it before. What is Nix? Is it just a package manager? Oh, it's just a package manager. Interesting. Yeah, I do think Macs are very well built though. Like hardware wise, they're like, I think that Macs are one of the top quality laptops you can go out and buy. I had one for my last job, and that's the first Mac I've ever owned, and it was a very, very nice experience overall. Just the OS interaction wasn't what I wanted. Like I had Emacs problems. I don't know. Like it's like you have to install a special Emacs version. It's just like weird stuff like that. It gets kind of annoying. Where's the Nix OS and Nix package manager? Yeah, I used Homebrew, so maybe I chose the wrong package manager. Why Emacs? I started learning Emacs because in college, one of my friends told me I should learn it. He just like recommended it, and VS Code gonna run fine. Yeah, so you might not have the same kind of troubles that I have, but it's like it's weird stuff. It's like I remember doing like grep calls. Like the grep command is different, and like things like that. Like I just want my commands to be exactly the same as what I expect on Linux. But I got into Emacs because one of my friends told me his recommendation was that um actually I don't remember exactly why he said it was better, but he was super in Emacs. I don't even know if he still uses it. I'm curious now. I assume he does. And my Emacs config is based off of what he gave me originally, and I went through the learning curve of struggling through learning the hotkeys. But yeah, and then I was converted. I tried to learn Vim after I had known Emacs, and it was just too painful because like it's like there's always the Emacs equivalent, so I know how to do something in Emacs, but in Vim it's like, oh, I have to switch mode, I have to do this, 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 and this, and I can do the same thing. But I like having just one mode that has a lot of hotkeys. I find that's more like my speed, I guess, because Emacs has modes as well. What's up, 2FA? Tufa? Emacs has modes as well. You just go into them for a short period of time. Like you control X, you go into a special mode, then you can hit Control G and do something else, you know? So like you hit a hotkey to go into a mode for like the next hotkey. As in Vim, you switch to a mode for a long time. So I like going into a mode to do one thing and then hopping out of it automatically. But and just the way I type is like very Emacs centric. Like I think in Vim you'd probably want to have like a lot of autocomplete stuff. Cause like I do this basically, and then I go and type my function. But like to do, I don't know, I don't know Vim well enough probably. But it's like you could do func, my func. But then it's like if I want to go do the last brace, I could do enter, do the last brace, but then I have to like I have to escape to go to the movement mode, go up one, enter back into the typing mode by hitting I or something, and then tab, and then start coding. I don't know. I'm not saying Vim's bad or anything like that. I've seen people use Vim much better than probably I can use Emacs, so. I just like Emacs. Anyways, that concludes my Emacs rant. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Mm-mm-mm. Amazing TED Talk, 10 out of 10. What's up, TLK? How you doing today? You having a good one? Is school done for you? Body weapon cooldown. I tried Vim by Vim Tutor, but never used it. Yeah. Doing good, I guess. Almost done with school. Nice. Very cool. Winter break is coming. You have any winter break plans? You guys have any Christmas plans? Going anywhere? Doing any trips? Staying at home? Like me? I'm staying at home. Luckily, all my family's coming to me, so I don't have to do nothing. Um, I guess I could pass whether or not it's a bot or a player when I create the weapon. Because the weapon config has the cooldown in it. I guess let's just do that. But it's kind of like there's an attack mode that that the thing needs to be in. Like, for example, maybe I have some monster that attacks in a special way. They might have a different attack mode than another monster that attacks in a special way. Like, this attack every component. Where is it? Might not be for all AI. It could be for different things. So I almost need like an attack mode or something. Where like there's a player attack mode, which is based off of the input. There's a attack every attack mode. Maybe I just have attack mode component. I could couple it to the weapon, but I feel like that's not the right answer because you could have a weapon that shoots a certain thing, but you want to attack with it a different pattern. I only use Vim when SSHing into random VMs with very minimal install of Linux. I usually have to use VI. I'm too lazy to install Nano. Yeah. I actually probably use Vim more than Nano. I don't know. I guess Nano's kind of... Nano's similar to Emacs keybinds. I used to use JetBrains IDE with Sublime keymap. Yeah, I've used Sublime before. I think it's pretty nice. I have used JetBrains too. I've done like Notepad++. I used to use Visual Studio for a while, but Emacs stole my heart and soul, I guess. The general problem that I have is it's hard to like define the entire configuration of this entity. And that's kind of what this body component's becoming. It's like, oh, it's on this team. This is what the type is, you know? Originally, I was planning to use body just to identify the sprite that you drew with. But I guess it's okay to use it for the sprite and the behaviors. But I think maybe that's the separation. It's like some things need to have their behavior defined too. JetBrains equals Java flashback. Yeah, I used JetBrains for when I was doing my Java coding. Some dark days back then. Let's see here. I guess I could just do that. Like I could do body.attack. Where's body? I could do like an attack style. Hmm. I'm looking for a more simple ECS implementation explanation. I found yours, but not really getting it. Oh, explanation. I guess like what are you having trouble, like what do you want explained, like why people structure it that way, or why it's higher performance, or how it's structured? Maybe I can answer. I'll do another TED Talk. An ECS TED Talk. We need that. How to make one? I have. Did you see my video, which was about how I made my ECS? I think I have two actually, where I talk about building an ECS. Like there's like the abstract concept of what an ECS is, which is just that it lets you arbitrarily add in, like you have type like monster. Like let's say I'm making a monster entity, you know, because games are composed of entities essentially, and then entities hold components. So you could have like a position, you could have like a velocity, you could have like an attack style, you could have like a weapon, for example. So all of these are inside the monster. But then it's like, oh, I also have players. And these have all the same things, except they have like a player input or something like that, you know? And like the reason you would use, so like instead of having two structs, because now you have to hold data in two arrays, right? You have like monsters, or you have monsters, and you have players. This should be single, right? You have like a list of monsters, a list of players. Now these are the same thing. So let's say I want to move everybody. I have to do like for monster in monsters, move, and then all I need is their position. I just need their position and velocity. I have to make two loops now. Right, and I have to do the same thing. I have to do it for monsters, I have to do it for players. But essentially what I want to have happen is everything with position velocity, I just want to move it based off of its velocity every single frame, right? So I can simplify this by, well, like how people used to do it is they would do something like this. They'd make like a game object, and they would compose, they would like in other languages you'd use inheritance, right? But you just make these composed of game objects. And now you just have to keep one list of game objects. And then you have one loop. Now you don't need two loops, you just have one. Right? So you just loop over your game object. The hard part with this is because you've only got one thing, now it's like, oh, but if when you start adding other systems, it becomes a little bit more complicated. If like game object dot is monster or something like that, do monster stuff. You know what I mean? So you start having these weird things where you have to pull this, you have this like very generic thing at the top that you're housing, and you have to every single inside of every single game loop be like, oh, is it this thing? Then do this. Is it this thing? Do this. So the ECS way of structuring it is instead of doing all of this, you just do you just keep an array of each component. So you have like positions, or we'll just do, yeah, you kind of do this. You do like positions, velocities, weapons, player inputs, right? And then you kind of end up with this table. It looks kind of like a table. And then at the very top, at the very top, you have IDs. And the ID is the, well, kind of, yeah, you kind of like, structurally it looks something like this. And then if you look at each vertical element of the table, what you'll see is that, like, let's say I have ID 0, it might be a monster, or let's say it's a player, just because that fits into what I've typed so far. Let's say it's a player, ID 0 is a player, it's gonna have a position, it's gonna have a velocity, it's gonna have a weapon, it's gonna have a player input. So all of those are gonna be filled. But let's say the next one is a monster, so ID 1 is a monster, which is technically index of this, like the ID matches the index, I guess, in this example. So index 1, ID 1, has a position. It's a monster though. It's got a position, velocity, it's got a weapon. It doesn't have a player input though. So it's kind of like a hole in the array. So you could structure your ECS like that. You could just have a hole there, like make it a nil pointer, like make these all pointers and then make it a nil pointer. But then you get the same benefit of this, you get the same benefit of only having to write one loop, because now all you have to loop over is the positions and the velocities, because like the requirement of this game loop was if you have a position and you have a velocity, then I want to change your position by the velocity every frame, you know? So you have one loop that just moves all of your entities that have a position and velocity. And if there's a hole there, you want to skip it somehow. Like that's the general like gist of what an ECS is. And then there's more advanced ways of laying out your memory, because now you have a bunch of holes. If you have a lot of entities that don't have something, you have a lot of holes in that. But the idea is that you can just dynamically add and remove components from entities now, right? That's like the biggest benefit that you get. And then you can have systems that loop over those components and do stuff with them. So if I wanted to change a monster into a player for whatever reason, or like I wanted to give it wings or something like that, all I would have to do is like fill in the hole. Like let's say we're a monster and there's another wings or something like, I don't know, something. And we're ID 1. This used to be a hole, but now I want to like give this monster wings. All I have to do is write that. But in this structure, I can't do that, you know? I have to have like a wings already always there, you know? So I don't know, does that kind of answer, or does that help? I don't know if that's clear. Why do this when you can slap an SQL database? Exactly. That'll be my next video, running my ECS out of a database. It is very similar. It's a very similar to a database concept though. So you could think of this as just a database. And then it's all about organizing your table, your database table, to be as efficient as possible in terms of how you need to query it. How you need to query it, how you need to update it. And that's like the more computer sciencey thing. Like that's the computer sciencey thing. But from the game development perspective, the main benefit is being able to dynamically add and remove components from entities, you know. Oh. But yeah. Thanks for watching my second TED Talk. But if you have any questions, I can answer. Like if there's something specifically that didn't make sense, I can maybe answer that. But that's like the high level. And there's two sides of it, I think. There's like the reason why game developers like it, which is because it's very flexible. We'll be waiting on the SQL ECS video. Yeah, coming soon to a theater near you. There's the game development reason why you want it, which is that it makes it easy to create and modify and keep track of entities without worrying about a bunch of different arrays of things. Because you've got 1,000 different entity types. You don't want to have 1,000 different, what's it called? You don't have 1,000 different arrays of each entity type, you know? Obviously, ECS isn't the only way to structure it. There's maybe other ways to do it too, but It seems like a good flexibility balance. So there's the game development reason, which is that it's very flexible. There's the performance reason, which is that it packs your arrays, and this is the computer sciencey side. It packs your arrays very tightly if you structure it properly, so you get a lot of cache locality, which makes your game run faster, potentially. But some people don't like thinking about it this way, and that's okay, I think. And especially if you have a simple game and it's like you just have one entity type, like if your game's just a bunch of potentially, yeah. Use the main Golang compiler or TinyGo. I have used TinyGo before because I was curious if I could make like a really small WASM binary for my game. But I think TinyGo doesn't support a lot of features that I need, unfortunately. So I don't think I could use it long term. But I think I did actually get a TinyGo renderer running at one point. But I think it doesn't even have like channels and stuff like that. And that's what makes it really hard to, I don't know, I guess I could abstract stuff in such a way. And then when I do WASM builds, like use something else other than a thread safe channel. Like make my own channel or something, I don't know. How did it perform? I think it was slower. I just used like in terms of building it, it was very easy to use, and it just it either worked or it was like, oh, you can't use this feature in Go. But I think I remember it being slower. I don't remember by how much though. I didn't really measure, I guess. I was just kind of like playing around with it. Whoa, what? Don't want to do this. I thought it's faster. I would be surprised if it's faster, just because I don't know. Maybe they're. I guess I'm not 100% sure about this. I thought the reason to use TinyGo was because it made smaller binaries. I didn't think they would be faster though. I thought it was for like embedded things. Maybe I'm wrong. It was a while ago. And to use on embedded stuff, yeah. That's what I thought it was for. I specifically wanted to use it because I wanted to see how small I could make a WebAssembly binary, because I was curious, like the default Go binaries that get made for WebAssembly are actually pretty large. Like they're a couple megs by default, so you can't really go below that floor. Whereas in TinyGo, you can make it a lot smaller, like in the kilobytes, which makes it more reasonable for something like a web framework. Or for a web game though, like because this is a web game and it's WebAssembly, I'm not going to use it here just because like most of the size of the file isn't going to be the code. It's going to be like, oh, here's a sprite sheet, here's a video, or not a video, here's like an audio file, you know. Like there's a lot of stuff that has to load that gets embedded into the binary anyways, so making the code like a little bit smaller isn't really going to make it that much better of a user experience. They're going to have to download the whole game anyways. Never heard of TinyGo? Yeah, it's just like an alternative Go compiler that has a reduced feature set. It probably doesn't have generics and things like that, I doubt. Maybe they've added it by now, but has a reduced feature set. And actually, I wonder if they monomorphize their generics. I wonder if they have generics. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what they're gonna do to implement it. That'd be cool if they only a couple megabytes JS bundle sizes go burr. Yeah, how big do JavaScript bundle sizes get? I guess I'm not very I'm not a very like front end focused developer, so I don't know this stuff. I assume they'd be in the kilobytes though, because JavaScript's pretty. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I assumed JavaScript would be like below a megabyte almost always. All of those JavaScript frameworks. But yeah, I wonder if they monomorphize their generics. That might make them faster for a lot of cases for people. I would love a monomorphization option in Go. But here we are. I think that the thing that's confusing me is that I'm thinking about like two hierarchies. One of them is like player versus AI. And then one of them is like players will almost always use the player input way to trigger attacks. So in that sense, it's like, oh, players and bots. But then inside of bots, there's like another tree, which is like which attack style is the tree is it using? But I think I might, and that's kind of my logic before. I would use the body type to determine what your attack style was. But now I think I'm going to add an attack style here too, which lets the entity creation at the entity creation time, you can determine what attack style you want to use. JS packs can be 10 megabytes plus. Compressed or uncompressed? That would be insane. I guess they compress it if they're already going to pack it. What's my, I'm curious what my, I guess my game right now is 17 megabytes. That seems a lot bigger than it used to be. But this is uncompressed. 60 megabyte JS bundle. Oh, unminified. Gotcha. I assume that means uncompressed too. I can just do gzip, right? What? Oh, whoops. Okay, yeah, 3.9 megabytes over the network, which it really isn't that big. It's very compressible. Yeah, I think I like this idea. Then attack style is separate from the weapon. So the weapon's going to, but the weapon determines the config length. I guess the weapon kind of determines might determine some of the attack style. I guess they both determine the cooldown. So there's a weapon cooldown, maybe the attack style adds some cooldown or something like that. So I'm gonna add both of those in when I make the weapon, I believe, or when I add the weapon. Add a weapon function. Config weapon config. Let's see here. Weapon type. What up, Java man? I'm doing good. How are you doing, Conifer? Player. Attack style. Every, what did I call it? Every what? Attack every. I'll call it attack every N. I don't really like doing AI stuff. It reminds me of UE for AI implementation. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna set up the AI like state transition stuff yet, but Right now it's not changing, like it's pretty unchangeable. They just stay in one state the entire time. Maybe one day I'll make it swappable though. Make things more complicated. But we'll keep it simple. We'll keep it simple today. How are you doing today, Conifer? Maybe this bit interface is confusing. Oh, for UE or Unreal. Player, or this should be a map. I responded how? Oh, I didn't. I had it on. I had it on top chat mode. In top chat mode, it doesn't show stuff when you use your swear words. Then you use yeah. I need to. I forget to switch it to live chat sometimes. So if I missed anything, I'm sorry. Probably gonna have to drag my ass to the office today, even though train strikes and I have no way to get there. Uh-oh. I mean, hey, that's a pretty good excuse to work from home, I'd say. Family friendly chat, exactly. When do I make the weapon config? Oh, these are static though. Yep. This is a family friendly stream, Conifer. Appreciate you censoring yourself. Attack style type 2. I guess we can just do that. Actually, this doesn't really I guess I do whatever. Whatever. I'm just gonna call it attack style attack every. All right. Int.add. What's the player one? Ah, yes. Attack cooldown. Probably the way to make this a map is like do some factory. All right. So then when I call add weapon, it's going to add the weapon, which is what gets shot, and then it's going to add the attack style, which is how the cooldown works. That removes that stuff. Let's see if it works. Oh, I need to pass body dot attack style config dot body dot attack style. Config dot body dot weapon dot cooldown. Oh, I delete, or I this should come from a cooldown map now. I need to make a function that's like get from map else panic or something like that. Because all of these, that's what I want to have happen. Player cooldown. Wait, weapon dot cooldown. This should work, shouldn't it? Oh, because config is a weapon config, not a Oh wait, weapon config has a cooldown. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. So it's really just config.cooldown now. Ah. Oops. There we go. Look at these AI. Little slime champions. They're just coming for you. There's like one movement style, which is like walk, pause, walk, pause, walk, pause. Also, looks like there's some it looked like there was some what's it called? Like things weren't very smooth when there's so many of them. Which is surprised because the render time seemed basically the same. It didn't seem like it was taking that long. All right, cool. Well, now we can remove this stuff. This has been effectively put into configurations. This also I did that with. I want to rename this file. This is done. All right, let's rename this player file to be config.go. I'm gonna make this the config file, and this is gonna have all the type definitions. And I'm also gonna put all of the maps in here too. Or should I? Yeah, I'm gonna. I feel like it makes sense. Open at the very top. Oh, I need time to add back. All right, cool. My cats make the craziest leaps to get on my desk when I was in the standing mode. Okay. I had some notes in here of stuff I wanted to fix. This I can fix. Ah, this was the note. I think. I'm thinking I want to just have walk to stuff server only. I guess that's the other option. But I guess I still need this for weapons, don't I? It's just a matter of like predicting or not. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some water. All right. Theoretically, all of this stuff could only be created on the like, because this is shared logic that the client and the server both use to spawn entities. And then on the client, I have like this becomes like an underlay. I have an overlay factory, which adds some extra components like sprite renders and animations and things like that to everything. So like it makes the base thing, and then it adds some stuff to it based off of what got created in the initial one. So what I was thinking I was gonna do is be like, it was gonna be like, oh, I want to make an entity, which is gonna take a body config in, which is basically just the body and the position. And I was gonna go through and add everything I could, and then I was gonna have these like additional things, like if the body type is this would probably be like walk style or something like that instead of body type. That way I can disassociate the body type from how it walks. Even though those are probably going to be very similar, they're not, maybe not always the same. So it'll be like walk style. And then instead of doing zombie walk, this would be a function that's like add walk or something like that. Or it's like movement, maybe it's movement style. That's probably what it is. I'm gonna call it move. Move style. Move style player. That's like this player walk is gonna get added. So that's fine. Move style. Yeah, I guess there's how you would target too. I think as soon as I need to make different targeting, I will. Right now it just targets like a random one. Where is that specified? Or no, I don't even have a component for it yet. But I think this is how I'll do it is like, it's gonna be like, here's how you attack, here's how you target, here's how you move. I think that's an okay structure. And then at the very least, right now I'm just using like a number to indicate what gets created for that. But I think eventually maybe might be more of a struct that gets passed over, and then that struct gets used, you know? Like I wonder if these should define it. Like I should do attack style dot add or something like that. It gets somewhat complicated, but okay. I also need to pass health in somehow. But this should probably come from like some stats component. Health is hard because it moves. Maybe it's like, maybe there's like a max health that gets attached to bodies. I don't know. We'll do that later. I think this is an okay way of thinking about it though. Oh, move style, zombie walk. I'm gonna call it zombie walk. Because zombie walk I think is gonna be well, it's more of a slime walk right now, I think, which is like you do a slime zoom and stop. But I think zombie, or maybe we'll call it that, slime. We'll do zombie walk, we'll do slime walk. It's like, they're not very good descriptions, but I know what they are. This one's like, they're the same thing, just this one moves and stops. This one should continuously go. I mean, I could call it like move and stop and like move continuously. I don't know. It's just like, I feel like calling it by like what it's for makes maybe more sense. I need to think about this comment that I left myself last night though. I don't think this is this doesn't fix the problem for me though. The problem I'm having is that I want to be able to have some configuration which gets used to build the entity. And this is just saying that I don't have to build the entity fully on the client because some of these components are going to get synchronized over. It's not like some of these are not useful on the client, but I still write them on the client entity when it gets created. I think this is fine. I'm gonna make this the body config. And there'll be a movement style added to that. This is basically the same comment as this one. You guys probably aren't gonna read it, but I'm kind of talking to myself at this point. It's kind of it's a long one. I don't think it matters if the client has extra components added to it. If client entities have extra components added to them that don't get used. That's basically the gist. So either separate it out more. Eventually, maybe I will have some server overlay, and at that point, I might just move them over. But this is kind of this logic. I guess I need to have a move style none. Oh, I need to have a panic here. Okay. Annoying. Textile none. Nothing gets added. Which probably means that you can't attack, but you know, what can you do? The weird thing here for this one in particular is that the weapon config holds the cooldown, but then the cooldown needs to get used to create the attack style. Not really. So I wonder if I could, for that one, it might be, the right thing to do might be to add like, create attack style that reads the weapon. Read the weapon in the entity. Get the cooldown from that. And create, and there's also, how I'm coding this stuff now is basically that none of this stuff is going to change. But I have to keep in mind that eventually one day it'll be like, oh, you can change weapons, and the changing weapon might change your cooldown, which might change this. And so these won't, I won't want to be adding these. I want to be like reading them and modifying them. But yeah, that's a future me problem. Int body config. Okay. Well, I want to look at, well, I need to look at body. Move style type. So now I'm not looking at the body type. I'm looking at, let's comment these. If config.body.move style, we'll do a switch. Move style player or none. I think I called it player. Slime walk. I should call it player walk. Zombie walk. Actually, I'm kind of torn if I like to do a panic at the very end. I guess I'll do a default. Sometimes if I return inside of my switch statement, sometimes I like to not have a default and just panic at the end. But in this case, all right. Okay, move style 1 does nothing. Then the player, let's look at what we do. We have player walk. We have, I guess that's the only one. So we just do entity.add, config body, move speed. And then for these ones, it's a little bit more complicated because we have to add quite a few components. Also, the fact that these are networked probably should be, it should be detached. I think I only had it here because I was keeping it inside of this group. I'm gonna call let's call it add zombie walk. Config dot pause. Those will eventually be different, but that's good enough for now, I think. I need to move the networked part out. Okay. It's always, I feel like it's always hard to pull out what something is into its like base components, you know? Because there's like the dynamic, uh, like in action view of what this entity is, and there's like, what's the minimum number of pieces of detail I can use to create that thing, like reliably, you know? I feel like that's always a challenge. All right, I don't need this. I don't need this. These I'm just leaving for notes to myself. I'm gonna add this to both. Yeah, the player should get it. I'll just do this. All right. Now we need to do the same thing, but instead of weapons, we're adding movement. Oh, config, move. Oh, move style. Move style, move style. What does this get? A weapon config. I guess I can just do add movement. Oh, let's add weapon, add movement. Just takes a body config, right? Okay, cool. Add movement. Oh, I just call it config. Config. Undefined, okay. Oh, this is if it, we can't find the attack style. And this will work, but I think it's gonna use the default value. All my bodies use no movement, so yeah, so no movement components were created, which is actually kind of what I expected to have happen. Then I need to look for where this body function gets used. I can just do a search factory.body. Okay. So the spawner does it, obviously. We'll just go one by one. Body? New body. Oh, this is on. So that's what gets sent over the network. That's okay. So that one, the body should be already be fully written. It's really when we create a new body. I guess I can just search for this then. Or body this. Okay, that's for that. This is server. Oh, it should tell me the path of these. Body? Okay. Okay, that's attack style player. And then we have move style, player walk. That's what happens when people log in. Okay, so this is the only other place. So we just have it when players log in, and we have it when we spawn bad guys. This is the attack style, attack every. This is the slime walk. This one will be the other one will be the same one, but it'll be zombie walk. And then this one, none, attack style, none, weapon, none. This was just a punching bag. Like, that's what I was trying to create. I was actually trying to create a punching bag, and it's like, man, this thing's so much different than everybody else. Because I was trying to have something to test my collision detections. Oh, this needs to be mog dot. That's done now. This one, this one, this one, this one. All right. Basically, everything needs to be spawned on the server, which is kind of an interesting thing. Other than projectile, anything that's network needs to be spawned on the server first. Because the entity IDs of these two, like I can't spawn them on the, I can't spawn it on both the client and the server and then synchronize them later. If I spawn it on the client, the entity IDs or the ID that gets used in the ECS library is going to be completely different, you know? So, cool. So like when I the component type that I have that's called body, I feel like I should change it to be like, I don't know, entity config or something like that. Like something that's really generic. It seems to work. Seems to work. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I feel like it would be very nice. You know how Rust has um, algebraic data types, and you can have like match statements, and it'll like default check. Like I have a lot of these panic statements. Where is it? No, it's in config. No, it's in the factory. In the factory, it's like, oh, check to see if it's one of these two things, and if it's not, then panic. It would be so nice to have match statements there, and then I could just guarantee that this is never gonna fail at runtime. Like, cause I want it to always be captured. I wonder if there's a way I can like hack something to do that. Where my cat's want some attention. And he's so soft. Too cute. Oh. Careful. Go back to sleep, little kitten. Alright. Oh, here he comes again. I'll have to put that further away. Alright. It's kind of weird though, because I could just be like this holds everything needed to spawn this entity. But this is all of this stuff gets sent over the network, and that gives me a lot of flexibility. But if I just predefine everything, like oh, if you get this number, then you make a slime. If you get this number, you make a. I guess the hard part is things like this. Like if I want to have slimes with different speeds, or slimes with different like hats or things like that, all of that needs to be captured over and sent over the network. I guess that's why. Because otherwise I'd have to like go through and manually make a slime type. Like it'd be like slime 1, slime 2, slime 3, which I guess is reasonable, and it would probably save me some bandwidth, but this only gets sent very infrequently. So I think capturing it like this is okay. I don't think body is the right way to put it though. And really all of these are just like there's not going to be that many move styles. This could be a bite, this could be a bite. That could be probably like a 16-bit int or something like that, unsigned int or something. That gets converted to a float. Right now I'm using a float 64 though, so like the size of the size of that could be reduced. Sorry, my cat jumped on my back. Man, you got sharp claws, buddy. I know. I know. All right, I need to do a little break to play with these kittens. I'll be right back. Oh, hello, Sammy. How you doing? My cats needed some attention. Did you get your keyboard in? I'm still waiting. Still waiting to see those pics. I am still waiting, but it's being shipped from China. Dang. That's kind of crazy. That's pretty far. Are they a Chinese company? Keychron? This I can delete now. I've ordered more in the meantime. Wait, what'd you order? More keyboards? Oh, 2 offices, 1 France, 1 China? Okay. Might be just manufactured in China. I know they do a lot of manufacturing there. Health I can pull out still. I ordered another keyboard kit and other switches. Oh dang. Are you really into keyboards then, huh? You sound like me. It's a fun habit though, you know? I enjoy it. I guess I can change the where is it? Config, body, struct. I'm gonna call it max health, just so it's clear. And then I can add another one of these that does add health. Interestingly, I think I'll be eventually able to combine this and this into one thing. I won't have to be like, if you're a player, then do this. If you're an enemy, do that. Yeah, I'm committing to the hobby. Good. Yeah, I think I definitely bought more than this over my lifetime, but I don't, how many keyboards do I have now? I think I have like 4, which really isn't that much, I don't think. But I basically almost exclusively use the one that you guys have seen, the split keyboard. My Iris. My Iris keyboard. Oh, it's hard to get over there? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they ship to, but add ECS.c, new health. Health? Don't need that. Health. Don't need that. Alright, go modify my bodies again. I guess I could have fun, I don't know. I guess I could have functions that are like body creator functions. The problem is I want to have randomness inside of those body creator functions, and that's why I have to capture all this stuff. But I guess they're all in here, server, which is kind of nice because that's easy to change. We'll make the, I don't know, we're just gonna make these the fixed size of 3. We give this guy a lot of health. He's for testing. Or I could say like, if health is 0, if you just set health to 0, then it's no health. I don't know. A lot to do. We can do whatever we want. Add weapon. Sorry, I was just thinking. Okay, let's look at the networking file because that has this. We have players 10 health to start out with. Oh shoot, it's called max health. Maybe I should just do, I don't know, we'll leave it max health. Because I don't want it to be this thing that I start to think, oh, this is maybe, like this is the current health or anything like that. It's funny, I was doing all of this just to make this punching bag object, like entity, so that I could attack it, so I could debug why my collision wasn't being as clean as I wanted it to be. But let's, now that we've abstracted like literally everything. Actually, I'm gonna do one more thing, which is just add a to do to factory. New player entity. Wait, where is new bot entity? Wait, where's body? Oh, here it is. More okay. Let's look through this now. It's not like perfectly abstracted because I want to eventually have it just in configuration maps or files or something like that. I probably won't put it into files. Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Ah, yes. Now I wanted to, let's disable these guys. Now the next problem. There must be some, I feel like there's some auto ordering of how my systems are created, because I feel like there's one frame of collision detection that I expect to have happen, but it doesn't ever happen. This guy's a punching bag. And you can see, like, the last circle of the projectile should be hitting him. Is it hitting him? Oh, it is hitting him, I guess. Oh, that's gonna be really hard to tell. Let me just restart. Because he has so much health that it's right, like visually, that looks like it should hit. And then collision wise, it also looks like it should hit. Like it's hitting the last frame of the collider. It's being drawn, it's just not detecting or something. So let's look into why that is happening. Let's see, why is that happening? So the thing is, I simulate physics, which moves the rigid bodies, and then I check collisions after that. So that's why I'm confused on why it's not happening. It's either that. And the projectile spawning should be identical, because I literally was just messing with that and I made that identical. That shouldn't be it. Unless I have some weird piece of code that like changes something. I'm curious. Let's go to the player. Or no, sorry, not the. What is this? I don't even know what that file is. Let's go to the client. The client has physics systems. I'm gonna enable health predictions on the client. And we'll see if the client's detecting as a hit. Oh, so the client isn't even detecting it as a hit. All right, let's look through the check collisions code. It's getting set to the physics position. That seems right to me. You just think on that very last frame. Where's death timers? Where's that logic? Update death timer system. Maybe that's too early. Maybe it's drawing it. That did not seem to fix it. Physics. Physics. I'm gonna put these at the end. Right after check collisions. then we'll see if it thinks it hit. Oh, now it thinks it hits. All right, let's rerun this again. It's weird that the maybe it was like I was so far at the edge on the last test. Okay, I guess that did fix it. Let's turn this back true. This turns off health predictions on the client, so the client won't try to adjust the health. It'll be server determined. Okay, so it was just that death timers thing. I guess because at the start of that physics tick, we were adjusting all the death timers, and it was dying even though it was like very closely interpolated to the end. It was dying at the very start of that frame. I think this is a better spot for it. Okay, good. That was a lot of work to fix one thing. Just moving the death timer system. That's one of the hard things about structuring all your systems like this, and maybe it happens for other games. I feel like it's hard to keep track of what happens before what. Like you have to make sure that this is happening in the right order, you know? And I don't have very good visibility into how stuff is happening. I need to improve that on my engine, but one day. Where okay. Watch this not compile, of course. Oh, actually, that's an okay reason for it not to compile. I don't know why Go does this. This is a very recent thing that's been happening for me. rm-rf go build star. It's like my temp directory runs out of space. I genuinely do not know why. Okay. Everything seems like it like before I would be like, oh, I don't know why they're not hitting. And it's just that last frame of the physics sim it was being destroyed before it was checking the collisions. Now things hit a little bit better. Another Jomi? What do you mean? Oh oh, that's right. Well, it's stupid because it's just my just my temporary directory partition. What is it? df.h? It's 8 gigs, but it fills up for some reason, and it's all from Go builds. Like I have tons of free space. I guess maybe I can change my build directory to be like, I just don't know why it's not cleaning up. Like it's a bunch of old builds. But maybe it's from doing Windows builds actually. Because I very recently, actually, maybe that's it. I very recently changed my build script to always build Windows to make sure Windows wasn't failing. Maybe I'll change that to be just like a pre-commit thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's very strange. But yes, my SSD is often full now. I don't know. I assume it's probably from that then. Sorry, I have to look at my to-do list. Projects. Okay. Last frame not registering. That's done. Make maps hold config parameters for all on entity construction. I'm gonna call that like pretty much done because it's all set up now. I just need, there's like a few more spots I could probably do it, but oh, I wanted to change how slimes attack too. It's like this one time my site DB was 800 megabytes and I check it's 90% strings and of user agents. Oh, really? Those are user agent strings are long too. Yeah, that's how. That's probably how AWS makes all their money. Is people just like storing too much data, and people just store too much data, and then just fills up their database. They have to pay for it now. You know. What's up now, gamer? Sorry, I don't know that language. Hey, how you doing? You having a good day? Good thing our company has a limited server. Oh, nice. That definitely helps. Well, I don't think it's unlimited, right? Eventually, someone's gonna come knocking when you're at like 100 terabytes of user agent strings. They're gonna say, "Hey, do you actually need 100 terabytes for all these user agent strings?" To which you just say, "Yes, I do." All right, config attack style type. Oh, I want to make another weapon. I've kind of, I don't know if this was a good idea. I'm trying to keep the enemy weapons and the player weapons the same, like the same thing, which made some of this stuff kind of hard. It would have been easier if I was just like player weapons. Here's all that they can use. Here's all the enemy weapons. I feel like there's some overlap, but I don't know if this was a good idea or not. But it makes maybe a weird situation here where like I was gonna have the slime shoot out in 4 different directions. That was gonna be the slime activate, weapon activate. But I don't know. I don't really know what to call that, you know? You're making fun, but some sets are like 10 gigabytes because people upload 4K images and never delete them. Oh, yeah. Oh, I 100% believe that. People just don't realize, you know? Luckily, storage is pretty cheap. So, maybe I make a section. Slime. The cool thing though is I could make a select a slime weapon, and then the player could like get that somehow. I just don't really know how to describe this. Either I like come up with a cool name for everything, like I call it like a slime wand or something, and like I don't know, slime. Hmm. Like I could also slimy wand. Yep. It's just hard. It's hard to decide if I want to just like have an attack pattern be separate from the weapon. Like the weapon just defines what gets shot and how fast it gets shot, and then the pattern decides like the weapon pattern. Hmm. I guess it depends on how many different pattern. Like it depends on what needs to be like more reusable. Like if I make one per like because this gets used to kind of create the weapon, which knows how to create the projectile essentially. So like I could have a wand that shoots slime balls or like slime or something like that. I don't know. So like whatever weapon, whatever thing slime shoots. And then I could have an attack pattern overlay on top of that weapon, which adds it shooting in a certain pattern, you know? And then I could do that for every weapon. And then I have part of the weapon config, which defines what gets shot. And then part of it defines like the orientation of that pattern. I think I like that. Like that seems like a very I don't know. And then like there's like the normal pattern, which is shoot in one direction. Then there's like maybe a straight up and like normal up, down, left, right direction. Maybe there's angled. Maybe there's like a V shape. How do I do when I do factory? Let's see here. Oops. Oh, this is the client factory. Hmm. There's attack style. There's maybe attack pattern. What does weapon config have in it? Has a weapon. Like this could have the pattern in it, you know? Like there's some attack pattern, and that's fine. The problem is how you create this weapon. Because I have this map up here, which is like the weapon config map. And like fists. Hmm. Like I could do attack pattern. I probably need to do this, right? Because at some point I need to be at some point I have to have something that says that like this body is going to shoot this kind of weapon. Yeah, I may as well put that in the weapon. Oh, give me 1 second. My cat's eating something he should not be. Um, I guess the more separated every component is in the weapon, the more flexible I can be with how I use it, you know? Like for example, right now I can't do right now I can't do like I can't change the damage of these weapons. So every time you're have like a sword or something like that, you're gonna do damage 1, or a stick, I guess, stick weapon. You do damage 1, you do all of this stuff. But if I ever want to make a stick weapon that has different stats, maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need like weapon stats, and that's kind of then the stats just define literally everything that a weapon can do. I feel the need to like draw something. I don't really know though. You have like a weapon. You have all the things that needs to be created for it. You have like the damage. You have the damage, you have the collider. That's kind of like the size and shape, I guess. You have like the range it shoots. I'm just gonna call it like lifetime. You have the cooldown. What else is there? Speed. I like how I lost the size I was at. And I guess eventually I have like stick. I guess it depends on how dynamic I want to be. Do I want to have sticks that can do like a range of different sticks? Or do I want to have like stick 1, do the 1, do stick 2, do the 2. I guess it matters how variable this stuff needs to be. And I think for most things, it's going to be just the same. This might not even be worth thinking about. I don't know, but I'm going to think about it. I guess what it really comes down to is how much of this needs to get sent over the server versus how much of it can come from just the weapon type. Like, do I need to send the entire weapon over with like the entire config, you know, and have each of these build its component? Or like, should I just write the whole weapon over with all of its fields, or should I have a weapon type that the server says, hey, this is the weapon? Because if I do the weapon type way, then I have to predefine every weapon. If I do this way, I can have dynamic changes to weapons, essentially. I guess at some point, everything needs to be predefined. It's just a matter of like, do I ever want like slimes to shoot things at different speeds or something like that, you know? I could have like I could have a weapon type that does like speed 1, a weapon type that does speed 2, or I could send all the fields over. Sending the fields over is more flexible, but I don't know if it's really that much better. I think I might predefine everything like I'm doing now. I think I'm gonna go with that route. Predefine everything, and then if I ever need to have more flexibility, I can add it. Because I think how it's going to split up, if I ever need to, is I'm just going to have to send the entire weapon over, and then all of this weapon type mapping, all this weapon type mapping would be just used for one component, like what gets shot or something like that, like what it looks like or whatever. But now if I want to have like another stick that does a slightly different attack pattern, I would have to make another stick, basically, like another object. That's the other thing, is eventually this stuff's going to come from objects. So in that sense, all objects need to be predefined. Or do they? I guess you could have dynamically crafted objects or something. I guess that's where the trick would be. If I ever wanted to have a crafting system that had like dynamically crafted objects, I couldn't predefine things. You'd craft a weapon that has certain stats, and then those would just be the stats of that weapon. And I couldn't store stuff like this. I'd have to store it in terms of the actual like weapon, you know? But it's like, oh, he crafted this weapon that shoots like this thing, but the damage is like 5 or something, you know? And then in that sense, it's kind of serialized this way. I don't know. I need to eat lunch though. I know it's only 7, but I need to eat breakfast, I guess. I woke up early. This was a good, I'm glad I talked through this though, because sometimes I won't talk through stuff, I'll just think about it and then not actually come up with a solution. I guess that's the difference. See you, Dracula. You guys all have a good one. I'll see you. I probably won't stream. Yeah, I will have a nice lunch. I probably won't stream next week just because it's Christmas week. But after that, or maybe I will. Maybe I'll do like on the Tuesday or something, because that's the 20th. I guess Christmas is on Sunday. I don't know. I'll be on a maybe slightly reduced stream schedule. So, but I'll see you guys when I'm back for sure. And I hope you guys all have a good Christmas if I don't see you till then. All right. See you later.